We must never take the free internet for granted. We are so used to the internet being free that we assume, falsely, that the internet will always be free. But if we're not careful, we are headed down a road in which the internet will become dangerously unfree. In his novel 1984, Eric Blair, better known as George Orwell, had this to say of his fictional dystopia. Quote, "There was, of course, no way of knowing whether you were being watched at any given moment. How often, or on what system, the thought police plugged in on any individual wire was guesswork. It was even conceivable that they watched everybody all the time, but at any rate, they could plug in your wire whenever they wanted to. You had to live, did live, from habit that became instinct, in the assumption that every sound you made was overheard, and except in darkness, every movement scrutinized." When I first read that book, 1984, in the early 2000s, it was difficult to conceive of anything like that happening. Now, we are in 2016, and man, we are frighteningly close to that. To the point where you really have to ask yourself, are we there right now? I don't think we are. We are right at the edge. It's almost like we woke up one day and here it is. It's here. And it's like, when did this happen? How did this happen? But it's here. It's here. Now, in response, some of you may say, well, if this is all true, how could we possibly speak out? We speak out because we have to. We have no other choice. Okay? We know what freedom is like. And once you know what freedom is like, it's not like you can simply go back in the other direction and eliminate it, right? Like, it's one thing if you were born in a tyranny and that's all you ever knew, and you had no concept of freedom, and you don't even know there's an alternative system. But if you know freedom, and if you've experienced freedom before, you know, and then all of a sudden it's taken away, like, man, I think most of us, like, at least me, but I'm assuming most of you, it's like, man, I'm not gonna do that. You know, like, I'm not down with that. It's not something that I'm willing to put up with, right? Like, it's just not happening. Like, and I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. Because, well, the proper answer to all of this information is not freaking out. That's the last thing to do. The proper answer is speaking out. And speaking out does not necessarily entail actual speaking. It also entails sharing links, sharing videos on social media. If you agree with this video or other videos on this or other subjects from other people, you ought to share those videos with your friends and family. If only 2% of the population speaks out, this prospective control grid will never be able to fully manifest. There are 7 billion of us. 350 million in the United States. It may sound cliche, but it's all about the power of the people. And I know that's so cliche, right? Like, but it's so true. And sometimes things become cliche because they are true. Once you get the people moving, it has a snowball effect, and it cannot be stopped at that point. If we are not careful, we will wake up someday in the future and find ourselves in a world entirely unrecognizable from the free society that we grew up under. And if that ever happens, and I pray to God Almighty that it does not, and I do not believe it will. To be completely frank, I do not believe this will happen. But darn it if it's not possible. And if we're not on the edge. If this ever happens, you do not want to be in a position where you wish you had said something, but chose not to. But we're not there yet. We are right now at a crossroads. We can still choose the freedom route. But we do not have a long time to dilly-dally on this decision. The fate of the internet, whether it will be free or unfree, will be decided sometime in the next 10 to 15 years, and I firmly believe that. And once it's decided, that's where it's going to be. If it ends up being a total control system, good luck changing that. If it ends up being a total freedom system, I'd say to the tyrants, good luck changing that. It's going to be one or the other, and it's up to us. It is up to us. And I am optimistic at the end of the day, but like, this is serious enough for us we need to talk about this. Like, which direction do we want the internet to go? Like, it is a critical question. In fact, it may be one of the most important questions of the 21st century. It's not being discussed. If we choose the freedom route, we as human beings will use the free internet. And by the way, this is so heartfelt right now. Like, it's totally heartfelt. Like, I cannot be more sincere with you right now than I am. Like, I'm always sincere, and I'm always like, but I mean, this is totally central. This is totally central. If we choose the freedom route, we as human beings will use the free internet to elevate humanity to a level that is utterly unimaginable. The internet, the free internet, will become a tool for overwhelming good and not overwhelming evil, power, and control. And so my creed is this. And this ought to be humanity's creed in the 21st century. And that creed is, long live the free internet. Long live internet freedom. May the internet always be free. Always.